What's up, y'all? It's TruthTiger, and I'm here to talk about these wildfires that are raging out of control. And it seems like every summer in the area where I'm at, which is Seattle, Washington, it'll just be like, oh, the weather forecast is smoke because there's a giant wildfire that is burning and raging out of control. It rained this morning, which I was very happy about because that will clear the smoke off and get the air clear and everything. But yeah, there's these wildfires are burning out of control. There's one in my state, Washington State, right now. There's one in Canada right now. There's one in I think the Grand Canyon right now. There's a big one burning, and these things just burn and burn all summer, and usually later in the summer, and it's like there's no real solution. The government is not doing anything to fix it. This should be a high priority, And I mean, there's a thing in LA where LA literally caught fire, and that will just happen. I mean, they had a bad one last year, but just literally a massive metropolitan area with 18 million plus people in it will just catch fire. And it's just like, well, that happens sometimes. Sometimes the city burns down, whatever, and these wildfires didn't happen when I was a kid. There'd be wildfires, but it wouldn't be like, oh man, for a week or two, there's just a ton of smoke in the city. It's not healthy. It's obviously terrible for the environment. I mean, all these environmental people, what are they saying they're going to do about the wildfires? Nothing. And it's just dangerous, and I don't see any of the politicians on either side talking about doing something about this or being more proactive. I mean, there's a lot of preventative measures they can take. They can be very proactive in clearing brush. They can be proactive in doing controlled burns so it doesn't burn so bad. They could be proactive in setting up reservoirs, digging wells, whatever, getting water in the areas where these wildfires burn like crazy. But no, nothing gets done. It burns and nobody cares. And it's just like, why is this not really talked about that much? I mean, the local news will say, oh, there's a wildfire, but these wildfires are dangerous. And once the wildfire starts, I mean, to fight it as like a firefighter, it's incredibly dangerous, and it's so big, you can't really put it out. How much water can you put on this thing? This thing is just huge. It's burning like crazy, and there's nothing you can do. And the thing is, they'll send these firefighters out, and it's so dangerous because they have to get so close to it, and the fire could just rage. I've heard in California, they'll send convicts to fight the wildfires because it's just like, it's a dangerous thing. We don't have enough manpower, so we'll just send convicts from, the prisons to go fight it because they just need bodies to do it. And, you'd think with all the money we pay in taxes, you'd think with all the government that we have, the local government, county government, federal government, state government, whatever, you'd think they could all come together and be like, hey, let's have a good common sense solution so these wildfires don't get so crazy. But they don't really care. And I think because most people are not really programmed to care, they're not really seeing this stuff in the news. It's not really the hot button issue. No one really cares. But I'm saying it should be more of a hot button issue. Because for one, terrible for the environment. Tons of whatever, carbon emissions. And not only that, but it's dangerous. People can lose their lives in these wildfires. People can inhale a ton of smoke in these wildfires. People can burn up in these wildfires, and they'll happen near towns. They'll happen in big cities like LA. And what's being done about it? Nothing. I don't see anything about measures to get more resources on it. I don't see anything about proper solutions. I don't see any kind of solutions to this, and I think the solutions, like I laid out, are pretty clear. Clearing brush, doing controlled burns, having water reservoirs set up in these areas, but they're not doing this. And these fires just keep burning, and it's like, the country's literally on fire. You know, it's like that meme with the dog and there's a fire and he's in a cafe and he's like, this is fine. That's what that feels like. It's like, you know, shouldn't this be a high priority? Shouldn't this be high on the list to say, hey, like, let's make sure this fire doesn't happen next year. Let's make sure we have good preventative measures. Let's take care of business. But I think there's maybe not much money in it. I think it's not something you can really use to, it's not really a good crisis that they can take advantage of. Like John F. Kennedy said, don't let a good crisis go to waste, you know? Never let a good crisis go to waste. And I think this is not an opportunity to like start a war or have more governmental control or to, you know, force people to have curfews and get a vaccine or whatever. I think there's no real way that the government or corporations or the powers that be can manipulate this. So I think they're just like, well, wildfire's burning. Who cares? We can't really spin this. We can't really, you know, use this to further our agenda. So whatever, who cares, you know? And I care. I don't like it. I want the air to be clear. I don't want all this smoke and smog. And I see near the Grand Canyon, there's a new weather system being formed from the smoke or something. I'm not a meteorologist, but that's just what I saw. And it's like, this is going to cause serious problems, serious environmental issues, serious health issues. I remember just the other day, I'm like, man, it smells like some mesquite barbecue everywhere in the whole city. And it's like, oh, because a bunch of trees burnt down, you know, and the wind blew all the smoke here. And not only that, but there's a lot of the trees, they're old growth, they've been around for a long time. These are some cool old trees, and we're just letting them burn to the ground. We're letting our forests just burn. And I know that wildfires are on some level natural, and on some level it could be good for the overall environment, but not these huge, crazy, out of control fires which are burning worldwide. Not that, you know. It's too big, it's too out of control, it causes too much smoke, too much pollution, it's too dangerous. It's going into big urban areas, like literally the second biggest city in the United States, LA. And the thing is, LA is going to probably burn down again because nothing's being done. I don't see any of the politicians talking about this. Maybe right during the fire, when it's happening, they're like, oh, we'll fix it. But I don't see any solutions being laid out. I don't see any attention being put on this. And, you know, attention needs to be put on this. These wildfires are just raging out of control. And if you live on the West Coast of the United States of America, you know what I'm talking about, because end of August, early September, it's just like smoke is on the weather forecast. You know, the whole forest is burning down. Not a big deal, though. Don't worry about it. It'll burn itself out. Some rain will come. It'll just burn for a few weeks. Whatever, you know, and that's really what seems to be happening. And yeah, we'll send some firefighters and planes and helicopters, and a few of them will die. Whatever. Just par for the course. People's houses will burn down. Whatever. People will die and get injured. Who cares, you know? And it's just like, I see people looking at what started it. Was it a lightning strike? Was it someone playing with fireworks? Was it an arson? Was it this? Was it that? It's like, I mean, I guess it matters who starts this on some level, but it's just like, hey, like, forest fires can happen pretty easily. You know, it's just about keeping it under control. And the thing is, like, when I was a kid, this never happened. When I was a kid, there was never smoke in the entire city due to a forest fire. Forest fires have always happened, but they've never been this severe, this crazy, this out of control. And, you know, it's like, where is the solution? The solution seems pretty easy. It doesn't seem like the solution will even be that expensive in the grand scheme of things. I don't think it'll cost that many tax dollars in the grand scheme of things, but they'll put money toward all this other stuff. But these forest fires, in terms of actually getting resources on it and actually having solutions, which are there, they're not doing it. And the thing is, year over year, this will just get worse and worse and worse unless there is a solution. Unless they actually put the resources towards it, clear the brush, set up water reservoirs in these areas, dig wells in these areas, whatever. do controlled burns and like have this be an actual thing that focus and attention is being put on, but the necessary focus and attention is not being put there, and the priorities of what our government is doing and what our society is focused on is just way, way, way off. If they would just say, all right, instead of funding all these universities to develop the AI, instead of doing all this military funding, instead of doing all this whatever, you know, all this other stuff they give all this money to. They give so much money to so much other stuff, man. So much other stuff. They got to fund this shelter for this or that. I don't even know, you know, but we got to fund this initiative of this, and there's this political thing where you give all this money to. It's like, how about we put the freaking wildfires out? And how about we have it set up so that when it does happen, it can be controlled easily and won't burn so bad and won't have so much smoke that the cities nearby are literally covered and blanketed in this stuff. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it just shows that the priorities of what our government is doing is way, way, way out of whack. And I feel like this has been happening for like the past 10 years or so. And I remember when it first showed up, I was like, oh, there's wildfires, there's smoke everywhere, this is new. What's happening here? And again, it just continues to happen, and they don't fix it. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. Just a little rant about wildfires. I know it's different from what I normally do, but thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. Much love, God bless, and I will see you all next time.